Oh my God.
Columbus 911 was added to the emergency.
January 4th, 2016, police receive a frantic 911 call from Caleb's father.
Please send someone, please. I want to kill my family.
Around 8 that morning, Robert Short made the gruesome discovery. 3 of his family members brutally murdered with a dumbbell. His wife, Gloria Short, 17-year-old son, Caleb, and 10-year-old granddaughter, Gigi, their bodies taped and bound. Horrific crime scene pictures from the Columbus Police Department's evidence file of the Upatoy murders. Their Midland home ransacked and 2 cars missing from the garage, later found on the south side of town. But this picture takes us back to a typical hot summer day, 2013. Caleb Short was 14 years old then. His niece, Gianna Lindsay, also known as Gigi, was only 7. Family friend Javassier Tapley, also called Weta, was 14. And with Caleb's friend, all enjoying a day in the pool in Caleb's backyard.
We knew him through Margaret, who was my uncle's girlfriend at the time, longtime girlfriend, and he was her grandson. And he was like a surrogate grandson to my Uncle Robert.
It was through those family ties that Javassier developed a close-knit relationship with the Shorts, especially Caleb.
And Shamika, how do you feel knowing that someone that you guys knew, someone who was so close to the family, someone who you guys spent a great deal of time with, was the one who actually committed the heinous crime?
It's a nightmare we live with every day because you think you know somebody, you think you know people that you bring around your family, bring around your kids.
Shamika then gets a call from her stepfather.
He hung up because he couldn't even verbalize to me what was going on.
Shamika then went to her parents' home, and it was there that she learned her only child, mother, and baby brother were dead.
I just lost it. I completely lost it. I fell to the ground, and I don't even know how long I was there, but I remember somebody putting a coat or something over me. And I just went to a different place in my head for a while to deal with it.
8 days later, 17-year-old Javassier Tapley, 19-year-old Raheem Gibson, and later 15-year-old Rufus Burks were all arrested and charged with murder and robbery in connection to the crimes. According to police reports, the 3 suspects rode on a bike from the south side of town all the way to the Shorts' home in Midland. When they arrived, Caleb came outside, and right away, Weta went to choking and attacking Caleb. It goes on to say Weta then tied him up and threw him through a bedroom window. That's when they all went through the window and started grabbing stuff. Listen, as the mastermind, Javassier Tapley refuses to confess as he's being interrogated by the lead investigator.
Anything you want to get off your chest?
No, sir.
Anything you want to get off your heart?
No, sir. See, I'm looking you eye to eye as a man.
Mm-hmm. As a man.
I don't have nothing to hide.
By now, police have begun to put the pieces of the puzzle together. Javassier is brought back in for questioning again.
Would you like to speak with me today? No. Okay, so you do not want to speak with me today? Hell no. Okay.
Javassier and Raheem pleaded guilty to 3 counts of murder. A jury found Rufus Burks guilty of 5 of the 10 charges filed against him, including murder and kidnapping. Shamika then faced Javassier at sentencing.
Can you see it? Can you?
Showing him the picture of him, Caleb, and Gianna swimming together in the pool.
He looked up at the picture and then he looked back straight ahead. But we hadn't gotten any response from any of the suspects.
6 years later, Shamika says she finds strength to carry on through God and from the prayers of her praying mother and grandmother.
And just remembering the scripture, it's so cliche, but you know that God will never put more on you than you can bear, because we definitely thought that we could not bear it. And we're living witnesses today, still here, that we are bearing it, and that scripture is true in our lives.
Javassier Tapley is serving a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Raheem Gibson was sentenced to 30 years in prison. Rufus Burks is serving 2 consecutive life sentences. As for Robert Short, according to Shamika Averett, he has remarried. Short is now living with his wife in the Upatoy home where the murders happened. Back to you.
All these years later, Rosin still cannot believe what that family has gone through, but well, we certainly continue to wish them well. Thank you so much. And
WTVM investigates. Back in September, Newsletter 9 received a call about 7 people left stranded at the Greyhound bus station in Columbus. I went to check things out and I could not believe what I found when I arrived. Take a look.
Thursday, September 29th, what was supposed to be a 15-minute stop at the Sunoco gas station on St. Mary's Road in Columbus quickly turned into a nightmare for these 7 Greyhound passengers.
I grabbed a couple drinks and she come and yelled and said that we had 3 minutes.
Hannah Wright says she boarded the bus at 3 o'clock that morning in Lafayette, Louisiana, heading home to Indiana.
So we all come running out here and they're leaving us. They see us running after them and will not let us back on the bus, and all of our bags and everything are on there.
The bus pulled out at 20 after 11.
Vietnam veteran W.D. Waters, a Fort Benning trainee in the 70s, was going to Detroit to help his sister and her sick husband move back home to Selma, Alabama.
I didn't know what to say because they just kept going. They were telling all us no, no, no. That's all they were saying. They didn't just said no.
No, you could not get on the bus.
No, we could not get on the bus.
The 72-year-old didn't have his clothes or medication. Like Hannah Wright and all the other passengers left stranded that day, everything they packed for their trip was all on that bus now headed for Atlanta.
We didn't know what we were going to do at that time.
I don't know where I'm at. I don't know how I'm going to get home. I don't know how they can just do that to people, just abandon them in places that they don't know.
The 4 other passengers, all foreigners from Honduras, Nicaragua, and Venezuela. None could speak English, all complete strangers except for this frightened 12-year-old girl and her mother. She clings to her mom for comfort, all traveling to different destinations. Urania Gutierrez purchased this $272 ticket from Houston to Newark, New Jersey. When I arrived at the gas station using an interpreter app, they offered to pay me cash to order an Atlanta-bound Uber for them. To better communicate with them, I called WTVM producer Sheila Vasquez to interpret for us.
The city of Columbus was able to put us in contact with someone at Greyhound. We told them the situation and they quickly sprung into action, ordering 2 large-size Ubers to transport the passengers from here to Atlanta.
I'll go ahead and set up the Uber. Now, I understand it's 6 or 7 passengers that are there. Is that correct?
Thank you for help, for me, for nosotros. Muchas gracias por la ayuda que nos están dando. Que Dios lo bendiga.
I'm glad it all worked out. Bye. Yeah, have a seat, too. You're welcome.
The passengers were finally able to leave Columbus after being stranded for 4 hours.
The manager here at the Sunoco tells me the 7 people stranded is a small crowd compared to the 14 people they've had left here by Greyhound in the past.
He tells me newly released prisoners have also been dropped off there with no place to go. And so were these 2 men, shown in the pictures from early September that I received. They had no money on them. And oftentimes the owner of Destiny Dogs, located inside the Sunoco station, Kenny Williams, will feed the people stranded for free, just as he did the day the 7 were left stranded, and also drop others off at hotels. Greyhound declined our request for an on-camera interview, but released this statement in part, quote, "While the tickets were booked through Greyhound, the bus involved was not a Greyhound and the driver was not employed by Greyhound. We are currently in the process of exploring corrective action regarding the incident. We are happy, however, to report we were able to provide alternative trip arrangements for impacted customers." Everyone, including Hannah Wright and W.D. Waters, retrieved their bags in Atlanta and made it to their destinations safely. In Columbus, Rosalind Giles for WTVM News Leader 9.
And still no word on why the bus driver left the passengers in Columbus in the first place. We were able to catch up with 2 of the stranded passengers. They were able to make it to their final destinations. And if you're wondering why they were also able to pick up their luggage, they did so in Atlanta. After a few